Online learning is here to stay, and with it comes a major headache that parents are facing. What tools do they buy their kids so that they can work better online? Well, I may have an answer for that. This is the Edumate, and it's a 2-in-1 PC, meaning the screen can break off from the keyboard and be used as a tablet. Of course, that means it's a touch screen and it comes with a stylus tethered to it. Let's go over the hardware quickly. All the functional bits are on the tablet portion of the PC. That is your battery, your processor, your ports, your power and volume buttons. There are some rubber flaps on the ports that seal them shut when they're not in use. These give the Edumate PC an IP52 dust and water resistance certification. That is something you don't see every day. The keyboard portion just houses the keyboard and a trackpad. The keyboard is alright, the keys have good resistance and travel, and they are comfortable to type on. As you get to the middle of the keyboard, the deck starts to flex a little bit. It's not a train smash, but it was a little bit annoying for me considering how solid the rest of the build feels. But a flexing deck was nothing compared to the touchpad. The left and right clicks demand way too much effort to get a click out of them, which over time can strain the wrists. But gestures like scrolling, swiping and double tapping work just fine. Just the right and left click buttons that need some serious attention. But you can lose those frustrations entirely by pulling off the keyboard and just using it as a tablet. If you are wondering, yes, the touch functionality also works with the keyboard attached. If you are loving this video, please give it a like, don't forget to share it and also to subscribe to the channel so that I can keep making more of these for you guys. The keyboard portion has some weight to it to ensure the whole thing doesn't flip over when you're using it as a laptop. But it's just barely enough, so using it whilst it's on your lap is a bit of a balancing act, especially for those of us that fidget a lot. A missed opportunity though is having a second battery in the keyboard that charges the main one in the tab for an extended battery life. It's running the education version of Windows 10 with 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of internal storage, all powered by a quad-core Intel Atom CPU. I'll put the rest of the specs here for those that care about the details. For the kind of device that this is, it's reasonably quick, no significant lag when waking it up from sleep. Same goes for opening windows and launching apps. It also has some amazing standby time. After a whole month stored away, it had only lost about 6% of battery life. When using it moderately, you can squeeze about 5 hours out of it. With power options set at high performance, the stylus is very useful when navigating the screen. I have big hands, and so accidental touches from my chubby fingers was well taken care of with the stylus. The screen itself is a 10-inch IPS LCD panel with some nice and rich colors. The brightness is fine but becomes very poor if you decide to go outside. Its name is Educate, meaning this is primarily an education device, and as such it comes preloaded with a trio of education apps. The first is a laboratory app, and this one makes use of the camera. You can use this app to check out some biology microscope samples that are preloaded in the app, or use the camera plus the bundled magnifier to check out real samples. In all honesty, I was impressed that this clip-on magnifier works this well. It can even read the tiny text on this charger. It's amazing. There's also a coding app called Ubu, and it's got some lessons on the basics of coding. Basics being the emphasis here. This is for kids beginning their journey into code, so don't expect lines of code inside a code editor. It's more of blocks, puzzles, and some logic-based games. That's pretty much what it does, gets kids primed for code. Then lastly, there is Cloud Labs. This app is a more comprehensive approach to e-learning, focusing on subjects within science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. This one is a trial version, and so you only get access to the first 2 chapters in each category. You also need to then buy the full version to gain access to all the content that the app has to offer. This is not a review of the app, but speaking from a science geek perspective, the simulations in this app are actually pretty interactive. It may not be the real thing, but it does a good job of giving you an idea of how you perform a particular experiment in the real world. All that said, nothing is perfect, and that includes this Edumate. Here are a few things that are not so great about it. The top left corner on the back tends to get pretty hot when you're using it while charging. You won't notice it unless you're using it as a tablet. 64 gigabytes for something that looks and feels like a computer is just too little. Not many video tutorials can fit there, especially if it will be used by, let's say, multiple kids in the same household. Why they didn't add a battery to the keyboard, I do not know. The left and right click buttons on the touchpad are dreadful. The speakers should not be used for music or movies. Use earphones instead. The asking price of $365 could be a bit steep for some, considering that this Edumate is heavily geared towards a singular purpose, which is e-learning. But that singular purpose for e-learning is one of the reasons why you would buy it for your child. It comes with features purpose-built for e-learning like rear and front-facing cameras, a magnifying lens, a stylus, and educational software is pre-installed. Ignoring the keyboard flex, it is very solid. The build quality is sturdy and it's got a rubber border right round the tablet section that absorbs shock in case you drop it. Actually, it's certified for up to 75 centimeters. The rubber also seals the ports on the tablet portion, making it IP52 water resistant, something that a lot of laptops don't come with. If you get the tablet separately, then it'll cost you $119, which is much more reasonable than this $365. You can also charge it using a compatible power bank so that you can extend that battery life by a good margin. If you're interested, you can get yourself one or several of them from the tech store at ZB Life Towers. I'll put the full location in the description. I'm curious to know your thoughts on this gadget. Also, let me know any products that you want to see me review in the comments and I'll make a plan to get them. Thanks a ton for watching. Goodbye.